This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Very good morning to you at 7 o'clock. And I know I sound like I'm exhausted, but it's not exhaustion. It's just a heavy heart when you hear some of the things that you actually hear in terms of what's really going on with people. And the person who came up with the phrase "vitu kwa ground" knew exactly what they're talking about.
Thank you.
Because you can be up here having a conversation, but the truth of the matter is that the people who have to go through the ringers on a daily basis is a lot more than you actually come to terms with. And we were serious about what we said, that we will have a conversation where we take the time to hear from people what is actually going on. That is the data you should be collecting.
True.
That is the information you should be putting together to say, look, you can be in your ivory tower, in your office with glass windows, having this conversation about how this policy, but the truth of the matter is that the policy is not reaching the people. And if you hear from the people the situations that they're going from, then you collate all of that and you take it back to the people and you say, excuse me, this thing is actually not working. Not for politics, not for public relations, for the people. We will have that conversation.
It is not out of malice.
No, it isn't.
It's feedback mechanism.
This is it. We will talk to the people about SHA. We will talk to the people about their health. The one job of government is to secure the people. You secure their education. You secure their health. You secure them security-wise from enemy. You secure their borders. You secure everything. And if you can't do this, then we have a problem.
True.
And so, yes, we will have that conversation, guys. So hold on for us, please. Another day will break and we will have the conversation probably this week. And I can see Evelyn walk away, but she understands exactly what I'm saying. Because it's necessary for us to have that conversation. And then moving into this hour, we will talk, guys. The front page of the Standard talks about the problem. We'll look into the problem. And we have pages in other papers today, The Nation, going into the Star, about what happened over the weekend, coming in from Friday. And that forms the basis of our conversation this morning. Two gentlemen join us in the studio today to help us to then look into a flooded city. And are we asking the question about a forgotten plan? Professor Alfred Omenya is an architect and an urban developer and joins us in the hot seat of the Situation Room this morning. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning. Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning. How are you?
Salama. Good morning, Mosiria. I can see you. Even from this angle.
You're well?
Yeah. Yes, very well.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
The Mosiria he talks about is Geoffrey Mosiria, who is the County Chief Officer, Public Participation, Citizen Engagement and Customer Service, and joins us in the hot seat for the first time this morning. Good morning, Geoffrey.
Yeah, good morning.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good?
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
We see you on socials quite a lot, spreading the word, but it's good to have you in the seat this morning. And we're going to look at a number of things, and including places where your name was mentioned. But okay, before we get into that, let's go into tradition this morning. We normally have a proverb from a different African country every week. We'd like you to then interpret that proverb from what Dennis is going to share.
Yeah, so today we're in Chad, and it is the 5th largest country in the continent. And its economy, it depends largely on oil, livestock, and agriculture. Oil became a major export in the 2000s. They equally, just like Kenya, have wildlife and nature. And there's a Kuma National Park is famous for elephants, lions, and migratory birds. But the proverb that we get from Chad says, "The chicken that laughs at the hawk will soon learn how to fly." The chicken that laughs at the hawk will soon learn how to fly. Katibu, how would you interpret that?
You see, even the chicken can always fly if there's need for it to fly, especially when it's in trouble. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. I think the chicken that takes the hawk for granted, as Mosiria is highlighted, very soon will realize that his own life can be endangered. Just like, because you wonder what the chicken is laughing at. Most likely he's laughing at other chicken that are being eaten by the hawk. So as long as it continues laughing outside there, he'll be in trouble. So it's very simple. That whenever we see things happening to other people, we should not assume that we are safe and start laughing at them or thinking that they're stupid and so on. We need to take caution on our own side, otherwise we'll become the victims. Thank you.
I think it's the proverbial phrase of when they came for the teacher, I was quiet. When they came for the doctor, I was quiet. But when they came for me,
there
was no one.
There was no one to speak for me.
Exactly.
Well, that's interesting because let me tell you some people that nobody can speak for today.
Yes.
28 of them died
Yes.
between Friday evening and
Right.
Saturday morning. 30 plus of them died between, 30 were rescued between that time and now. 700 homes were damaged and or destroyed. 800 plus households have been displaced. 70 plus vehicles damaged or swept away. And we're probably going to see in the coming days a lot more of the telltale signs of this destruction that came as a result of the flooding that we saw, not just in Nairobi, interestingly enough, but around the country. But Nairobi seems to have bore most of the brunt of all of this. And folks have been asking themselves, what's the problem? And many people have said in Nairobi, well, there's garbage all over the place and it's clogged up the waterways, so water can't move. People have said that there have been structures that have been put up in the city without proper county approvals. And so you have many, many more buildings depending on one sewage system. And that all that is going to happen is that it's going to clog up when rain comes. People have talked about the fact that structures that have not been completed then have become pools of water that then flood when rain comes. Many have said that, yes, it's a geographical issue and there's nothing you can do about it, but then you can mitigate when it comes to circumstances. We'll start with you, Mosiria, because you dealt in the county before your, what did we call it, lateral move, with a lot of this engagement when it came to what happened in the city under the county. What's the problem?
Yes, first, my condolences to the families that lost their beloved ones due to the floods. It was unfortunate. And ever since I was born, and having lived in Nairobi for most of my life, I've never seen what I saw happen during this time we experienced the rains. There were a lot of floods across the city, and I'll say this. First, the way Nairobi was designed, the population is growing.
Yes.
We have rapid urbanization. You see, most of the ground cover is covered by the concrete. And you know, the way these rains, it was just the way it started, nobody expected that we'll have such floods.
Oh, but we expected, because the Met Department told us very clearly that this was going to happen.
Yeah, what I'm saying, the way the rains started, nobody expected.
Okay.
It was unexpected, especially in a city like Nairobi.
Okay.
But what I'll say is this, most of the problems have been caused by we, the residents of Nairobi.
Okay.
Especially when we are constructing our houses, we ignore the prioritizing the drainage system.
Okay.
Also, how we manage our waste and dispose it. Everyone just don't care about their waste. They just throw the waste into the drainage system. Someone will leave his house because they don't want to pay for the garbage.
Yeah.
Having worked in the environment, I noted that people, they don't want to pay for their waste, for their disposal of waste.
Okay, so they throw it anywhere.
They throw anywhere.
Okay.
You will see someone in a matatu, they are finished with a bottle of water, they throw it outside.
The window, okay.
Which is very bad. So waste management has been a problem.
I mean, one would ask the question, Mosiria, before I come to the professor, right? So you've just mentioned that we are to blame as the residents in terms of where we construct and not giving priority to drainage, right? But
although
here,
I haven't finished what I was
yes,
saying.
no, I'm just following up on that before we proceed, right? So one asks the question, when there is construction that is happening, permits are given by the county, right? And follow-up still is being done by the county. So when we see someone is erecting a building and not giving priority to drainage, one asks the question, has then the planning department of the county failed at its job in ensuring that buildings that are coming up, first of all, have the relevant, meet the code? So has the county failed Nairobi residents?
Let me respond on that. Most of these problems are historical. They never started yesterday. You see, the problem that we are facing is when enforcement officers, they are compromised. And it's something that has been historical. Having worked in the environment, I faced a lot of backlash from people When I'm trying to tell people you don't have to construct on top of a river. There's a time I went to Westlands. I had to ask someone, why do you have to construct on top of a river? Then the river is passing below your house. We had to tell them, you have to stop this impunity. You have to move 30 meters on both sides of the river. So most of the problem is
I'm sorry, but I have to ask you,
Yeah.
when somebody is constructing, and we have
Yeah.
an architect
Yeah.
here, and that's
Yes.
necessary for us to do, because when we talk about planning, these are the guys
Yes.
who are very sure of what's supposed to happen. And we'll come to you in a minute, Prof.
Yeah.
But when you say that a county government,
Yeah.
which has responsibility mandated by law,
Yeah.
to stop or approve certain construction.
Yeah.
And you are suggesting to a developer, please don't build on rivers
Yeah.
or don't build on riparian land, and they don't listen. I find it very difficult to reconcile with that, as opposed to giving an order that says you must not do this or you face the law. It sounds like a suggestion, Geoffrey.
That's what I'm
Should
saying.
it not
What
be
I'm
that
saying is
we
this.
stop you?
The law is very clear. You don't have to construct there. And I remember we really have been doing enforcement, especially on those people who are constructing.
But
on
the
riparian
buildings
land.
still go up, Geoffrey.
No. If you remember, I said most of the problem we're facing are historical. Because when some of those buildings were being constructed, we were never in office. Personally, I was not in office. The current governor was not in office. Is now we are trying to solve the problem that is historical. But what I want to say is this: most of the problem, the reason why I say is Nairobian, with the Nairobian, is that people want shortcuts. People want to find their way. But what I want to say is this: a time has come that we really need to repossess the riparian land, and that's why. With the Nairobi regeneration, the commission that was from the president to clean Nairobi River, people are now being moved 30 meters on both sides of the river, and also the drainage system that was designed for Nairobi. You know, Nairobi, the population is growing. It wasn't designed to accommodate the growing population with the waters now with the rapid urbanization. That's why with the collaboration agreement between the national government and the county government, it's unlocking resources to do proper drainage system to solve the problems of Nairobi.
Okay,
Because-
let's talk to the policy man for just a minute here, just to understand how it actually works when you are developing a city, when you're designing buildings, Prof, and there will be natural occurrences like rivers, valleys, a hilly part of the city, right? These things happen. What are you supposed to do? And in the eventuality that you find that this is an occurring situation, what must you do to mitigate a circumstance where flooding will happen?
No, thank you, Yandu, Dennis, and Mosiria. You know, what is interesting is we have all the provisions to deal with these sort of issues. From a policy and a planning point of view, we don't have a problem at all. I've written myself extensively on this subject. One of the papers I wrote was called "A City Without a Master Plan," that looks carefully at planning of the city from colonial times, the different master plans, and looks exactly at this issue we're talking about of flooding and so on, and how that was handled within these master plans, all the way to the point where we are putting up a single building.
Right.
And I'll use very, very basic illustrations. In colonial times, of course, they didn't have as many resources as we have now. That was the Nairobi Master Plan, 1948 to 1968. And that plan, what it did, it was called the Green City in the Sun. That's where the name came from. And what it did was to prioritize the green areas and to ensure there was no conflict between infrastructure and the green areas. That is partly why you see our major roads. Mombasa Road is aligned with Ngong Road. With the Ngong River. Same with the Ngong Road. Thika Road is actually aligned with with the Madari River, and you hardly find roads. There are very few places where roads interact with that drainage system. So it was to help the city drain at a very cost-effective way, So that is one. Then. The next plan didn't have much. That was the 1973 plan, the Nairobi Metropolitan Growth Plan. It focused more. It was a strategy. It was not a plan. It focused more on how to deal with the population. Then we have the new plan, which is being implemented currently by Mosiria and team. And if you look at that new plan, the new plan talks in detail in terms of how the drainage of the city is to happen, including this project that is being done now, the Nairobi rivers. It looks at the river system itself and how to restore its function. It looks at absorption and how that is done. It talks about the infrastructure and how it should be done so that we have some percolation, happening there. It talks actually about buildings, individual buildings themselves, and how that should be aligned with the capacity of the drainage systems that are in those places, and talks actually about surfaces and so on. So the plan itself has no issue. Then when we come to development control, you'll find that in a lot of areas, the part development plan and development control requirements are quite different from what is actually allowed by City Hall. If I pick a case of Kilimani, that where I've lived and spent quite a bit of my life, Kilimani gets worse and worse every year, and it is because the developments in Kilimani are way, in fact, the ones that are approved by City Hall are way above what is allowed by that same City Hall. Kilimani is basically what is on the guidelines is 6 stories, because that's where we also have DOD, we have the flight paths and many things, and we have plot coverage of I think about between 50 to 75%. We now have 100% plot coverage in Kilimani as it were, and the surfaces are all hard against the new plan and against development control requirements. The reason why at micro level,
I'm sorry, because sometimes you say things that there's a plan.
Yes.
And what is currently happening is against the very plan that was come up by the city.
Exactly. And
so
development control requirements by the
city.
Correct.
In approving some of these buildings.
Correct.
Is going against its own plan.
That is the point I'm putting on the table.
This is interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So there are 2 issues. One of them Mosiria has spoken to, but one of them is actually, and it's very interesting. You find that as an architect working in the city, you'll take your drawings to City Hall, and it'll be rejected because it doesn't meet those development control requirements. Meanwhile, you're seeing somebody else, putting up a building that is 4 times the size of the building that you wanted to put up, and covers 100%, and purportedly with approvals. So, of course, what happens there is it is just corruption. Let's just call it for what it is. On the other hand, we also have people building illegally around the city, and I think Mosiria has spoken to that. People, just impunity. Again, it's very interesting because one thing I can tell you as a resident of this city and as a practitioner and somebody who does a bit of work in the city, if today I had people hacking tiles in my house, inside my house, today, over the weekend is a different story. But today, if that was happening, it will just take minutes before an enforcement officer arrives. So the issue is not lack of enforcement officers or even not knowing what's happening. They do know. But the issue is that, again, is that same City Hall and its enforcement officers that are allowing these illegalities to happen. I've spoken to people around the city and so on, and you find, yes, we have the formal developments over the sewers, over the waterways and so on, but you also have the informal. And I was quite curious. At some point, I was seeing a very interesting informal development happening in Upper Hill, just on a new road that had been done. And I went and talked to those people. And they told me expressly that they're there because they've been allowed by people from the City Hall to be there. And that if anybody tries to build anything there, without being allowed by those people, the structure will be pulled down almost immediately. So basically, we have these issues of lack of enforcement. We have issues of corruption, deep corruption in the City Hall. We have more disturbing issues when the president and his governors was talking about 75-story buildings, allowed that we should go that direction in the city. We're asking, what does your plan actually say? Your own plan. What does it say about size of buildings? And how are these buildings sized? Immediately you put up a bigger building, of course, it means that you have more hard surfaces, you end up with more runoff, and your drainage system has not been improved. You are actually creating floods, you're creating problems, and so on. And that's just when. We have problems of sewer, we have problems of water, we have traffic problems, and so on. And this is what the broader planning framework and development control framework are meant to address. So you generate the bigger planning framework, then you come up with a development framework to help implement, because it's through development control that you implement some of these plans, apart from the large infrastructure, plans as it actually were. But then we don't see that. We don't see our governor, we don't see Mosiria and team saying, look here, guys, this is the direction the city was to go. And this is what we are doing in development control. So we shall not allow 1, 2, 3, 4 things. What we see is that as long as you have a bag of money, you will be allowed to do whatever you want to do.
I know Dennis wants to ask a question, but I just wanted to confirm that can we see a direct line between the crazy flooding that we saw Friday into Saturday and these building erections, for example, on unapproved or should not be approved areas? Can we see a direct connection between the two?
Yes. It is very direct, and that's what I was saying. I was talking about Kilimani, because that's a place I've stayed in and I've been in for more than 30 years.
Okay.
And of course, we never used to have any flooding in Kilimani at all when we were younger, around 1990 and so on. Mm-hmm. Because Kilimani basically had single dwellings that was occupying less than 25% of the plots as it actually were. And then of course the place was rezoned, and rightly so. Okay. We needed higher densities there. It was rezoned in the 90s to allow high-rise mixed development. And City Hall, in doing so, actually did make development control requirements for Kilimani that did make sense. Okay. Where still you have to build 50% of your development, and leave the other bit, because it is the other bit where you have green spaces that can start controlling runoff right from the development, and then of course also not go high for other reasons. Yeah. Okay. So that you need less hard surfaces and so on. So that, to me, and by the way, that is still the framework today. All these other approvals are done by a committee that more often than not, use their discretion rather than the letter of the development control requirements. Yeah. So what we see as Kilimani keeps developing is that you start seeing flooding emerging in these areas. There are some places that I didn't even know there was a river. Just like after Yaya Center, there's a river actually. Yeah. There's a small river there. Because I'd never seen any water there. Right. There was never that volume of water. And about 5-6 years ago, I started seeing the place flooding, coming to Arwing's Kodek. And by and by, what you see is that the situation is getting worse and worse, because basically the open spaces that could act as sinks are all gone. Okay. And the river system itself, that particular place, which I've tracked myself, is so constricted that it cannot take much water. And you can say the same of today. I was driving here, I passed by Langata Road, and you can say the same of Nairobi West. You can say the same of South B and South C. Okay. That entire river system, the Ngong River actually, it comes and it gets channeled in these small culverts. Yeah. It's like trying to put a river in a bottle. It's just ridiculous, and the place floods, and then we are shocked that the place actually floods. Of course, the place floods, and it only gets worse. Yeah. So my point is that we generally don't have a problem with the city's development control requirements. They're okay. And even the plans, they're generally okay. But then is a flouting of these plans, with direct approval from City Hall, from the county, that then starts becoming problematic. And it's not just flouting them. I'm not belaboring the point, but let me just go slightly beyond this. And the governor alluded to it, that also there are other agencies that are causing a mess in the city. Okay. Whether it's Kenai that you're talking about, because we have a bigger master plan, and in Nairobi is also the theatre of national government. And of course, I'm very, very happy about the Nairobi River, because that's the one of the very few projects where the national government intentions are directly aligned with the planning intentions. And I've been telling people, if you look at, we were here fighting the expressway, and the reason why, one of the reasons why we're talking about that was saying, look here, the city has a plan, the new plan. The new plan talks about a rail system. And the new plan talks about a rapid bus transit system. The new plan was not talking about an expressway, a private concrete thing that again is generating a lot of water incidentally. You know, that just exacerbates issues. And the reason why we talk like this is because when planning process is a very rigorous process that involves both technical people and political people and the general population. By the time you generate a plan, more often than not, a lot of things have been thought about in an integrated manner. So when you come up with a piece of infrastructure that is not in the plan, that was never envisaged in the plan, then there's need to think about it a lot more carefully in terms of how it integrates within the plan. As I wind up, Kenya, and they've been flagged actually, Kenya are doing a great job in terms of infrastructure. But new plan has very specific details in terms of how such infrastructure should be done, so that we actually have absorption spaces, you know, next to these highways, you know, so that we have grass that can deal with runoff and so on. Of course, also recognizing the grey infrastructure, the culverts and so on to deal with the drains and so on. But what we see generally is Kenya coming in and destroying all the trees and clearing all the grounds and so on, and putting that with concrete, and of course increasing runoff, and meanwhile the capacity that has been put, you know, to channel that is actually very limited. So the challenge is not the plans. The challenge is how we are implementing this.
So Geoffrey, we find ourselves in a position where we have the plan, right? And fine, there is the historical problems that the current government has inherited. But one asks the question then, if we know very well that there have been historical injustices that have been committed before, that people have erected buildings where they ought not to have erected them, and you have the plan as well, why are we not seeing the county moving in and bringing down these buildings because they are against the code? We will talk about matters to do with garbage collection and garbage disposal. Fine. Kenyans, each and every single Nairobian here has responsibility on how they dispose their garbage. But then again, I have to go back to the county and ask, why is it that then you find the county has licensed individuals with the Mikokoteni to collect garbage, yet we know our holding area is Dandora? How do we expect that someone living in Ngong will deliver garbage in Dandora using Mkokoteni? I'll take you, for example, because I know you were there. That is Gitanga Road. There's a place called Congo. You were there yourself. That dumping area is actually destroying each and every drainage facility that is there, including the road that we have spent money on. Why is the county silent when we see all these things happening?
Yes, first, we have, as I told you, and you have also alluded the same, that most of these problems are historical. You see, when my boss was on TV, he even explained, we have like a school, is it Visual Oshua? You can't bring down that infrastructure just in a day. You walk in and bring it down. That's an investment that is also serving the society and the community, but it's to look for ways of sorting this problem. And that's why right now, you know, the drainage is not only the county function, is a shared responsibility. There's a part that Kenya plays, the role, and the county government. And that's why the collaboration now that we are going to have, we are going to sort most of these problems. Let's accept there's been a problem, and we can't run away from a problem. The time to solve the problem is now. And we have to face this problem as a government and not to run away and give excuses. If there's been a problem, if there are officers who have been compromised before, this is the time to fix the mess. And this is the time that we really need to do things the right way. And that's why I always tell even our officers, please, I know every person, you might be in need of that cash when you go there, someone is trying to compromise you. But look at the problem you're going to cause. Because today, there's someone maybe who never did his work when he was supposed to do that work in planning. those years. Maybe he was given some few coins. He left someone to build to construct where it's not allowed.
Okay.
Like another problem before you.
Go ahead,
You know, there's one problem in Kenyans and leaders, especially MPs and maybe some MCAs. When you try to fix a mess, they will come out and even bully the officers that you are interfering with our people. These are poor people. We have glorified poverty. Like now you have asked the issue of Gitanga Road. We have, yes, young people are earning out of it. I'm not against it. But when we try to fix this mess, today I'll go and close down that illegal dam set because we closed it down. The following day you'll find a leader from somewhere coming and telling his people, my people, we cannot compromise our young people, they have to earn. But why are we glorifying poverty when we are breaking the law? It's the same way you find someone is just someone who can even afford a shop is hawking in the middle of CBD, and the kind of goods he's selling, it's enough to even hire or rent a shop. So what I'm saying is this: we are on the ground trying to fix this mess, and you see, I'm always vocal, all over trying to tell people that you have to do the right thing. I'm always on the ground trying to educate the people, because again, people need to be educated. You know, we have lived in a culture that people have normalized illegality. They believe it's part of their life. So I'll say that, yes, some of the problems that are in the city, which are historical, is the problem of the government, but it's also the same government to sort them out. And that's why we are always, our officers are on the ground, and we are doing supervision. Most of the time, I'm never in the office because sometimes the junior officers are compromised. We go to the ground to support them and do the right thing.
To support them in their compromise?
You see, they are not. What I'm saying is this: most of our officers, let me correct myself.
Okay, you might want to do that.
Let me use the right one.
Okay.
I think, yeah. Most of our officers, sometimes these junior officers, they are normally sometimes bullied and blackmailed by some of the people. Maybe
you can say it. They're bribed by people. Is that what they're doing?
Let me finish. So, when an officer goes there, you know, I'm saying there's a culture we have developed as a city, whereby officer will try and go and correct a mess. It's told wewe, ukiguza hii utaenda.
By who?
You see. Now,
you know what, Geoffrey, what we need to do.
I'm trying to respond.
I understand,
there's a culture that has been developed.
We need to understand exactly what is going on, because there's a direct correlation between what you're saying and the destruction and loss that we saw on Friday. So let us understand this process that you're talking about. When a junior officer goes to a site, for example, where a building has been erected, where an approval has been given by somebody out of the county government of Nairobi. This is what you're saying. A junior officer goes to inspect, for example, and somebody tells him, wewe, ukikaribia huku utaenda. Who is this person that seems to be above the law for which the county government is unable to keep to account?
Can I respond to that?
Please.
You know, sometimes let's call a spade a spade.
Let's do it, please.
Not a big spoon.
Yes.
And you find this, you know, you'll find someone senior in government. And is the one who is doing that building. And they have to sell fear to these junior officers. That's why when you saw me on the ground, I used to do the right thing. It doesn't matter who you are. Whether you are who in government, you have to do the right thing. I remember when I stopped a building that was being constructed just on top of the river. They tried to call me and bully me and tell me, do you know who is the owner of this building? I told them, is the owner of that building above the law? You know, there's nobody who's above the law. That's what I'm saying. We have this culture that we need to fix, whereby someone who feels superior, that is in position of authority, can just do the wrong thing and find his way. So that's why I'm saying this.
I'm conflicted, Prof.
But
maybe if I can ask a question.
What I'm saying.
conflicted a little bit here. That in broad daylight,
Yes.
there's a plan.
Right.
It's not being followed.
Correct.
Junior officers or senior officers, in this
Yes.
case, will go to a site to inspect,
Yes.
to account manage, which
Right.
they're supposed to do as
Right.
county. And somehow, some persons are able to bully the county government out of its position and allow these what would be now illegal structures to
Right.
come up
Yeah.
that then have a direct effect on what happens to people downstream
Correct.
when the rains come. You
Yeah.
have to know a little bit of geography for this thing.
Right.
Right? So that happens. But for some reason, we remove that element from the explanation and we say that we all have a responsibility when it comes to garbage.
So what I said is before the proper
Yes.
response. Let me finish. Nobody bullies an officer,
But-
unless this officer is compromised. What I'm saying is this: the problem starts with the people of Nairobi. They want to find their way through compromising the officers with maybe a bribe. But what I want to show you is this: with the recent
Do the officers take these bribes?
listen to me.
No. Do the officers take these bribes?
Can I respond to that?
Yes, now. Yes or no? Do the officers take these bribes?
Not
Yes.
every officer takes a bribe.
But some do.
Not every officer takes a bribe. Personally, I've been compromised to a tune of 2 million to allow someone to continue running a patching plant in the middle of the estate next to a school in Ingara.
Jeffrey, you need to be
But
careful.
What I'm saying
I'm
is this.
sorry. You need
my
to
sister,
be careful. When you say I've been compromised, what you've said is
Someone.
that... Hold on.
I've
When you
not
say...
said I've been compromised.
Let's play
Don't
the tape
put
back.
words into my
You've
mouth.
just said, I personally have been
course,
compromised
yeah.
to the tune of 2 million shillings.
No, someone tried to
this is-
compromise me.
No, you've said
Listen to
tried.
me. Personally, someone tried to compromise me with 2 million. Let's be realistic. And it's all over the social media. I've always said it. Someone tried to compromise me with 2 million to allow them to continue running a patching plant in the middle of the estate next to Ngara Girls School. But I had to stand my ground. I told them no money can be compared with the life that is being affected in this area.
Okay.
The same way I'm saying with this, not every person is like me. Not every person, someone will see 2 million and see that my life is now changed.
Right.
And again, not every person, not every officer goes to work, especially, and I want to tell you this. If every person was doing the right thing, today we couldn't be having what we are experiencing today. And that's why I'm saying the mess that has been there, what we need right now, and with the leadership we have, and the support that we are getting from our leadership, is that we will solve the problem. The drainage system will be fixed. It's now a shared responsibility, because ideal before, we need budget, money. What we collect as a county and what we receive from the national government was not enough to do the proper drainage system. And there are roads which belong to the national government, and there are roads which belong to the
Okay,
county
so it was
government.
a budget issue.
So, no, let me just highlight this: that actually, this is an interesting situation. It's not basically just about compromising officers. I think it's a situation where City Hall, together with a cabal of investors or whoever you call them, have normalized doing the wrong thing. So as a practitioner, you come in, you are telling your client that, look here you are only allowed to do 6 stories. That same client you're telling can see people doing 20 in that whole place.
Yeah.
So what do? Basically, they go to City Hall and bribe. At a case where I didn't know whether bribery had happened there, but a client came to us to bail for them in again, Kilimani area. And we told them what the development control requirements were, including the timelines for approvals. And the guy went quiet. So after 3 weeks, I called the fellow. The fellow told me that, look here, Professor, nyinyi ni watu wa theory. You have no idea how things work around here. And indeed, the guy had gotten his approvals.
Yeah.
Within 3 weeks, he had done the designs. He had gotten the approvals. Of course, the building was way higher than what was on the paper. So you have this situation where City Hall is actually basically doing what is even against their own regulations, and that's happening everywhere. And I've used Kilimani, but you look at the building that collapsed in South Sea the other day. The same thing. the building had been approved at a particular level, then people came in and things were added. But we have not even started looking at Eastland's room and so on, where again I've had conversations with people. You go in there, what's allowed is actually 4 stories or 5 walk-ups, and people are doing 15 stories, 20 stories, of course with no lifts, nothing, 100% cover and stuff like that. And the answer is just the same, that the people from City Hall who are actually eating, who are actually either bribed. In fact, there are even people who are given floors. You are told that, okay, fine, if you give me 1 floor, then you can actually add 5 others, and this is the truth. This is how the city is running. So we're having a situation where those who are keeping the law, those who are following the rules, those who are following the regulations are a minority. And City Hall is not even encouraging that in the first instance. You are punished. I practice in this city, and I had a situation where a DSQ, a domestic servant quarters, could not be approved for a year for no reason in Runda, because of course we refused to bribe. And the fellow eventually said, okay, fine, if you guys are going to be stubborn, I'll again find my way of doing these things. So we do have corruption, Mosiria, in City Hall at the highest level. And we do have corruption with your officers on the ground. And I'm not afraid of saying that. And that is one of the biggest problems that we actually have. I'll give you a case of the reverse, because there are also very good things that happen around. Our client in Kiambu, and the client basically wanted to do ground plus 2 on this particular, that is 3 levels, residential in this particular area. And Kiambu clearly told us that, yes, although you guys have done the designs, we only allow two levels. And if you want to add anything, it can be a small attic that must not occupy more than 25% of the plinth area you are building. And the planner in Kiambu, he knew me. This is somebody I taught at the university. The planner from Kiambu told me that look here, professor, let's drive to this site. And we drove there. And the guy told me, look here, professor, you see that guy? He has done exactly what you're telling you to do. And you see that guy, and he showed me three buildings in that same neighborhood, and say, yeah, those are the guys who have followed the regulations. And I sat with my client, and I told my client, look here, let us redesign this building. What the county is saying is the correct thing, and we actually did it. My point is that the government has the power to enforce its regulations. But it's very, very easy to say, okay, fine, nobody will see, nobody pull down your building. After all, you're just building one additional floor. And that's where it starts. And eventually it becomes 2. And it becomes 10. And we end up with these ridiculous high-rises in Eastlands. Places that were meant to have single dwellings now have got 15 stories. And I agree part of it is historical. If you look at Dandora, if you look at Huruma, Inako, what people don't understand was that Inako was about core housing. And core housing was basically just a kitchen and a toilet, and then you had to build a living room around it. Those places were to be one level. Now somebody has built 15 stories in those exact places. And that has become the norm. And it's the same in Dandora. And it's the same in all those things, Karioko, Kariobangi, and so on. So basically what we've done is to normalize illegalities. Meanwhile, on paper, nothing has changed. And that is being used to punish those who actually want to
do the right thing. Yeah, so, Geoffrey, I want to ask a very simple question. It's actually one of our listeners was asking the question. Tuflan is asking, is there a rot in City Hall?
Rot in City Hall?
Yes.
First, before I respond, my new role is to receive even complaints and engage the citizen. And what I'm doing now is engaging the people. And I'm happy that Prof has said there are officers who are being bribed. And I'll request that he gives me that information so that we use it to sort out the problem. Personally, I haven't seen that rot in City Hall, because if it was there, I would have received complaint from Nairobian complaining about officers with doing illegalities. But Prof, now before we leave here, I request that you share with me the details. But what I'm saying is this.
So the second question then is, knowing very well what Prof has said, and as well a question that has come from a Kenyan here about the rot in City Hall. One asks the question, if we know, Prof, and you can correct me, if we know for a fact that someone has not lived up to code, they have broken the law.
Right.
Their building, therefore, is deemed illegal from the word go. Whether we're talking about Visoshua, whether we're talking about a building around Oledume Road, that is actually on top of a river, whether we're talking about any other building that has broken code, it is condemned to be an illegal building. When Thika Road was being constructed, there were houses, there were multi-million buildings that were next to the road, but they were illegally on the road reserve. What did we see? They were brought down. Recently, the county, together with national government, has brought down buildings in Githurai. Why? Because they are condemned to be illegal buildings next to the road. Correct me if I'm wrong. The same has happened in South B, not far from here, Fortanyayo. Buildings were brought down irrespective of how much they've been set up. One asks the question.
Raila Odinga brought down houses in Runda.
Exactly.
Famous.
Because they were on-road reserves. If we do know that in Nairobi today we have buildings that have broken code, buildings that are condemned to be illegal, why are we dilly-dallying with the law and not taking the rightful steps to ensure that for us to deal with the drainage situation in Nairobi, buildings must come down? It is not me saying that. It is the law. Why are we finding it difficult to do that?
That one expected to happen because right now, and with what we experienced recently, and most of it is historical, but I want to assure you that most of right now as we are doing the proper drainage system, repossessing Nairobi River, the riparian land, it's going to happen. And I've sat in a meeting chaired by a team from the national government on the repossession of riparian land, and there's that plan. Even a notice was served whereby they want to repossess. Even those big buildings will go down. Yeah. Okay. So nobody will be spared. And I wish I was still in the department because I personally believe in doing the right thing. It was in the environment because environment is also involved. And part of it is to make sure that the right thing is done. There, like my brother said, there could be the rot. But I want to assure you that most of it, with the leadership we have and with the decisions that are now being made, with the new arrangement that is in place, I want to assure you that this city where we are going is Singapore.
No,
not Singapore.
Don't go there.
So what exactly, because I think oftentimes when we're dealing with things like this, is that we make blanket generalizations about what is going to happen. So let's be specific. 2 things. Let's not even go to 10. 2 things that will happen, according to what you're saying, that will avert a future situation like what we saw on Friday. 2 things that will be done practically. Not that people are going to sit in an office and have a meeting. No. Because we've done enough of that, and that's got us where we are today. What are 2 things under this new arrangement that you're speaking of that will happen, that will be linked directly to the aversion of the Friday-Saturday situation?
Yes, first, there's a team of experts which has been put in place to solve the issues of drainage system, whereby there are areas where the drainage system which was earlier designed is not enough to accommodate the urbanization. That one is going to be sorted out.
This is my question. What is going to happen? Will the buildings be brought down? Will the buildings be brought down in order for the drainage system to be expanded? What's going to happen?
If there's a building along the way, it has to go down.
So the buildings will go down?
Yeah, it has to go down because nobody is going to be compromised.
Okay.
And also the issue of garbage. Right now, there's a new arrangement. There's a new contract that has been issued.
The Ghanaian fella.
Yeah. That they're going to work with the locals. It's not that they are working alone. They are going now to sort out this issue of illegal dumping within the city. Garbage is going to be cleared. And already they are on the ground. So with the garbage being sorted out and the drainage, And the problem we experience in Nairobi will be the thing of the past.
What is illegal dumping?
Illegal dumping, as you have said, I think the word is self-explained. Illegal dumping is whereby people dispose waste in a poor way. Someone just removes waste and throws it along the road reserve. People have created some holding point for garbage, which have now become a mess, a disaster in this, like my brother said, the Tanga Road. And most of it, actually, when I was in environment, I closed them down. Only that I got moved to this new department. That does not mean that I should stop now looking into such issues, because now where I sit, I'm able to receive complaints from Nairobi.
Are there garbage dumps? Are there dustbins, garbage receptacles in these areas where this illegal dumping is happening?
What we have in those areas is the transfer points, not place for.
So there is nowhere for people to throw their garbage.
We have allocated the transfer points where garbage is held for a short duration, awaiting for the county to.
What's a short duration? How long?
Short duration, it can be 2 days, 1 day. And another challenge we were facing before is,
allow me to follow this line of questioning, because it is directly related to what you said.
Yeah.
You've said there's illegal dumping.
Yes.
That means that people are dumping garbage, and then when the rain comes, it carries it off to the areas where Prof had mentioned before,
Yes.
right? Now, would you imagine if there was a receptacle for this garbage, that it would be in the big tanks that we see,
Yes.
for example? If there was a garbage receptacle,
Right.
would we still see that there would be a problem of this garbage finding its way into the streets
Let
or
me
the
respond
gullies?
to that. You know, Nairobi, the population we have in Nairobi.
No, Geoffrey,
I want
let's
to
not
respond.
go around. This is very
I'm not
clear,
going
this
around.
question. If there was a garbage receptacle, would people
There are
put their...
areas where we have. There are areas where we have.
If there is a thing here,
Yes.
and it is put on the road, and
Yeah.
it reads garbage, put it here. If it existed, would people put the garbage in the thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So can I respond? First, garbage should not be held somewhere like what we have those transfer points. It's because ideally when we came in office and the capacity which we had was not enough to transport that garbage from source to Dandora, and ideally the responsibility of transportation of garbage is an individual responsibility from source to Dandora. The government, the county government, is supposed to clean the main corridors and the CBD, those town centers like Westlands. The main responsibility. That's why we have private service providers who are licensed, and also those CBOs, to collect from the household. Once the CBOs collect with the Mkokoteni, they're supposed to pay the private service providers to take it to Dandora. But we have those crooked ones, those who divert the garbage to go and dump it in the illegal dumping sites because they want shortcuts. And that's why I said the problem we face in Nairobi has been created by we the people who don't want to take responsibility, who want to take shortcuts. And so, my sister, the two things is that the buildings will go down, those that are in illegal places, to give way for proper drainage system, because we cannot allow one individual to compromise millions of Nairobians. The issue of garbage is going to be cleared in the entire city.
Prof, a roundup from you?
Yeah, I think the people doing illegal dumping, and they seem to be so powerful that the city can do nothing about them. There are people creating informal trade areas. They seem to be so powerful that the city can do nothing about them. There are people building illegally within the city. They seem to be so powerful that the city cannot do anything about them. The question we are asking is that why did we give the city power in the first instance as government? You know, the city has the power to deal with these things. So it's actually what I call abstinence by government. It is the city not doing its work. It is a situation where police are saying, look, here people are breaking traffic rules and there's nothing we can do about it. And meanwhile, they're actually on the streets. So that is very, very important. I think we also must really congratulate Mosiria. He has been actually vocal about these impunities and is in the public domain anyway. But the the problems we're dealing with are more systemic that we need to deal with. My parting shot is very interesting, and it's a factual issue. Yeah. We're checking the intensity of the rains in the last 5 years, and we noted that in 2020 we had 382 millimeters at an instant. In 2020, that's 2020. 2021 we had 575. 2022 we had 321. 2024 we had 200. Last year we had 124. This last one was 160. The point I'm trying to illustrate here is that the rains that we saw this last week are really not the worst rains we've seen in the last 5 years. The impact, though, was terrible.
Catastrophic.
So the question we must be asking ourselves is that why is the impact getting worse? It simply means that these conversations we are having, that our situation is getting worse. Our drainage is getting worse. Our runoff is actually getting worse. Enforcement is getting worse. These are actually facts and figures. Yeah. So nothing dramatic happened within these years. So we must question ourselves. The reason why I was looking at this is because I'm a believer. I'm a staunch believer in small things that matter. Supposing the city was clean and there was no garbage, would the impact have been a bit less? The answer is yes. Supposing we had a little bit more greenery, would the impact have been less? The answer is yes. Supposing drains were unclogged, even if it was just a community movement across the city, would the impact have been less? The answer is actually yes. Because there's nothing dramatically different that has happened between 2020 and now that then exacerbates our situation like this. It simply means that normal micro level issues have become worse, and it is true. Even in my neighborhood, it has become worse. Where there's garbage collection, there are new informal settlements appearing everywhere. People are building on top of these drains and on top of road reserves. And it's not just people putting up buildings. We have many small businesses, these informal businesses, blocking the drains. They're trading right on top of drains across the city. So even as we look at the bigger issues of the Nairobi rivers, which we must still do, when we look at big infrastructure projects that must be done between national and county government, which must still do. My challenge to the city is simple. The small things that are within our power to do, can we just do them? I think this, your city hall, and if I met Governor Sakaja, I'll tell him the same. It is a good example of very bad governance, where you cannot do small things that make sense. You can't do small things that cost nothing. When you hear people in government, the only time they wake up is if 60 billion has been announced, if 20 billion has been announced. But small enforcement that the city has actually resources to do is not being done. So yes, the Mwananchi is behaving badly, but government is even behaving worse.
Well, the July is coming, Geoffrey, and indeed, you've been quite vocal on some of these issues. We can't run away from that reality, and far be it from us to not say something that actually is the case. However, some of the things that Prof has pointed out, even as we round down this conversation, are glaring truths and the reality of the day. The governor seems to think that you may have been the one who said that you should not have been moved from that environment when he gave an interview over the weekend. Was that not you?
What?
The governor believes that you might have been the one who sent a message in on when he was in an interview saying that perhaps you should not have been moved from environment to where you are today.
First, let me ask you, who is Mosiria?
Oh, I don't think we have time for that. We have about a minute to go.
You know who is Mosiria?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Mosiria is known for his work because his work speaks for itself. So the person who asked that question is Nairobian, and I request that you invite my boss maybe sometimes to even clarify to some of these issues. Then you can ask him that question.
Okay. Geoffrey Mosiria, thank you so much for being here with us this morning.
Thanks,
Professor Alfred Omanya, thank you for joining us. It is our hope, even as we have these conversations, we push back because not one person should have died.
Right.
Not one ounce of property should have been destroyed in the manner in which it was. And that's why we say we must have the conversation. We must do better.
Correct.
Thank you both for being here. It's 9:05. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.